Hey y'all, John Belomo again from the Rainmore Group. In this section, we'll be going over building trust and building trust when it comes to a business setting. So, what I do want to start with first is channels to build trust, and that will be emails, phone calls, video calls, as well as in-person meeting, and also the affinity of building trust in those channels. So, let's start there. So, through phone calls, prospects and your customers want human connection more so now than ever because AI is implemented everywhere. And actually, just want to put a note on that real quick is if you understand the idea of building trust now, it is going to be far more valuable than it has ever been because the implementation of AI overall has increased value across all industries, right? Doing things a lot faster. Um, and making things essentially a little bit more easier to get things done, though it is sacrificing trust, knowing that people are being used or people are being the recipients of an AI tool as opposed to human connection drastically reduces trust. So phone calls, again, this is opinion actually from my end, is I this will never go away, right? Um, People still want to be sold by phone calls. Yes, there are those that are not big fans of phone calls. I absolutely love it. Over the years, I've just started grown more and more into it, and I love the challenge of converting a stranger, a conversation with a stranger into interest into a product or service. But I just wanted to put an asterisk there, just a note that this, in my opinion, won't go away, and mastering this is going to be very strong for your sales organization or sales business unit. So as far as affinity, it's medium, right? So you're only achieving audio with the person. So you have control of tone, cadence, and the concept and the understanding of your product or service and answering those questions. Um, as a reminder, what trust is in this process is your buyers believing, yeah, believing what you say you are going to do, as well as them believing that you have their best interest in mind. Okay, I'm not going to go over exactly how you can establish that, but I want you throughout this chapter is just understanding how do you influence those components. So again, you only have as far as the ways of communicating to a prospect. It's only through audio, but people want to speak with people. They don't just want a chat bot or an email to get through a sales process and learn about a product or service. Next is email. Low affinity. There's a lot of spam email. You know it. Um, but there are some tools to kind of separate you in the market. And those tools will change over time. I'm going to go over an email sample in the next slide. But it's not so much of what I will be doing or that you will be doing now that's going to essentially fix the trust building in email, but just understanding why it works. Okay. Don't worry about that right now. Again, I'm going to go over in the next slide. But email has a low affinity of building trust. So you would essentially want to do what you can to build trust as much as you can through email to kind of push it to other channels, such as phone call, such as the next two channels I'm about to show you. Video call, high affinity, right? Because you're not only getting audio, you're getting some visual cues, you're getting feedback as well um, from the prospect. If what you're going over, you notice that the person or people that are on the call with you are nodding your head, for example, or nodding their head, um, you know that what you're saying is hitting a note for them and they're building trust with you, right? It seems like you are saying something that is resonating with them. Um, Alternatively, if they are on their phone looking elsewhere while you're speaking, that clearly shows that you are not necessarily hitting the notes for them, and that you may need to adjust your what you're speaking about. Um, and so asking also questions during those times, right, that you might not be getting through phone call, right? You might not know that they're kind of distracted. Asking questions to kind of establish what's important to them and stopping what you're saying, not just going through the motions, can help build trust, right? And saying, hey, essentially, why are you even looking at a product or service like us in the first place? Just curious. Um, oh, well, one of the problems that we're having are XYZ. Then they'll go over in a little bit more detail, and then they now believe that you are interested in helping them on their specific needs, right? And again, tying into uh, doing or saying what is in their best interest. In-person meetings, very high affinity, right? We are designed to talk in person. Yes, you're not necessarily able to do it nowadays because sales have changed. We're all have the ability to work remote. But if you can, get into conferences, get into in-person meetings if you can, because you'll have a better reading of how real a deal is, and you'll also be able to influence the conversations a little bit more, right? Asking a little bit more questions outside of the window that you have with the person within that hour, for example, in a virtual demo. So as a reminder, very important. The one thing that I want you to take away from this section is trust from a business perspective is the buyer's belief in doing what you say you'll do and also having their best interest in mind. The perception of the last two bold points here. So let's go over how you can potentially influence trust in a channel of email. So in the subject line here, you see this is something that actually an email template that I normally use, but I want you to understand why I'm doing everything. Okay, it's a little bit clickbaitish, yes, but I do sometimes put in RE semicolon to start the email to look like it's a email that was replied to, right? Kind of separate myself from every other email that they're being sent to. When you're selling B2C, you can get away with not as formal text here, right? You can ask a question, you can have a little bit more clickbait. If it's B2B, you want to be a little bit more professional. You have, the product or service that you're selling may influence that person's career and their job, right? So you want to come off as professional. I like to put in my company's name as well as their name so that if they're ever searching for uh, the email in a month from now, they can, if they even remember the company's name, fine. They can type in Rainmore and that'll show up, right? And then what I also do at the end of it is just really quick define what my conversation is about. Try to keep that in 2 sentences or 2 words. Sales support. Now, again, tying into building trust, anything that feels templated is going to decrease trust. That's something that's another thing I want you to keep in mind or take away from this section is any channel you use, if it feels templated or it feels like a sales manager is forcing you to say, it will be read by your prospect, right? They can feel that, and that decreases your trust. So instead of saying hi, hello, try using good morning, good afternoon, good evening, right? And if to make things easier, send all your outbound emails in the morning so you can say good morning. Why? That really looks like that you took the time to speak to the person, you know what time of day it is. This just lands a lot better than just hi and hello. So for the first paragraph here is came across your profile on LinkedIn. It shows that I've took the time to do some research, even though I might not have. My lists, I've really kind of defined it, and I'm sending an email blast out. I still am in the first sentence here is showing that I spent some time here and on researching their profile. With your area of responsibilities at ABC Tech, I know what they do. It's not a blind outreach or blind blast on email. I kind of know what you do, and you would likely find value as we would help your sales team fill their sales pipeline. So likely find value. Okay, why would you like find value? And you would give the reason why. Fill their pipeline, pre-qualify leads, and what we do. We don't share exactly. I'm not sharing exactly how I do, but I'm doing enough to get them interested on getting onto a separate channel, which again is either going to be a phone call or a video, right? Because we are trying to build trust. Also trying to build value, but right now for the subject of what we're going over right now, building trust. Look at the last part of this, the last part of this sentence or the paragraph. Can yield as and for was gathered about your company, we can yield quick return as we serve customers that target similar personas. Social proof is very strong tool in the buying process. So not only did I do research, not only did I take a look at what you do, not only do I tell you why I would think that it'll be valuable for us to connect, but we also work with people similar to you. Okay, that's going to build trust. So that's going to say to them, this person's likely whatever they have to say, they're probably going to stick to it because they already serve with people that are similar to mine. At least that's their perception, or maybe perception. You can't win them all. Sometimes they're like, okay, this is just somebody that I'm not really interested in speaking to. That's fine. But I want to give you a reason why I'm doing it. Last sentence here is inform us when you can connect a few minutes to review this week. We're not saying um, let me know when you're available. We want to come off as authority, and I'm using the strong words as inform. Again, keeping it professional, but inform, meaning that this sentence states that I don't have much time, but I will dedicate some time to you, right? And I do think there is a fit. That's what you want them to feel when you reach out to them, any channel that you reach out to them. So I also want to go over some words and some statements to adhere to and also to avoid. Oh, it came a little backwards, but it's okay. On the left-hand side, so the words that you want to avoid essentially are the word I. I've seen that many times. I'm guilty of it also sometimes in the sales process. I comes off as being selfish. You want to use alternatively we, right? We are here to serve you. We would be interested in connecting with you. We can share organizations that we serve that are similar to yours. I just kind of Pavlov's your prospect into thinking that you're selfish. Okay. Just is also a word that doesn't come off as authority. Use the word I want to confirm that we will be a good fit with you. So let's connect sometime this week. Let me know what works. Hope. Hope is not someone that, or is not a word that you would use that you feel confident, right? No one wants to buy a product or service in hopes that it works, right? So stay away from this word. It's not, it doesn't come off as someone that has authority. We will deliver an excellent product or service given that we find that we work well with each other on our first call, right? Just using these types of statements on the right hand side as a team authority. These are very strong words that you should consider. Now, the last sentence, this can be interchanged with a lot of different terms. These are tough. Industry leading and cutting edge. These might have worked about 10 years ago. I would highly recommend you avoid these statements, right? And this is a templated term or templated statement. So stay away from these. In my opinion, and also not opinion, it's data driven. I've seen emails that don't really land well with these terms. Look on the right hand side. Just, hey, we've proven in your sector and can share some social proof as needed. Very straightforward. Like that is stating that we are industry leading without saying that. But again, the words on the left-hand side on the bottom left of your screen, um, try. There's alternatives. There's better ways of saying that, right? So, yeah. Thanks for investing the time here, and see you in the next chapter.